Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Nonprofit Enthusiast Live. I'm your host, LaSheena Williams, and I'm so excited to be here with you all. This month's topic, as you all know, is scaling without the chaos, systems that support growth. And today we have our special guest, Joe Pici, joining us. So please join me in welcoming him to Nonprofit Enthusiast Live. Hello, welcome.
It's my honor to be on. I'm excited.
We are so glad to have you. So, to kick off the conversation, if you don't mind just talking a little bit about how your journey to supporting nonprofits and what that looks like.
Well, what I do with nonprofits is a lot like what I do for profit
Okay.
because there's a common denominator that there's certain things all nonprofits have to do that kind of line up in a lot of ways with profits. And that's number one, whether they're raising funds, okay, or their business, although being a nonprofit, is serving a sector where they have to get clients. My specialty area with the nonprofits is to help them master strategies and skills of generating leads to who they need to talk to, booking appointments with decision makers. That's so vitally important. Being able to consultatively have the right conversation with that person or that group or board, bring it to some type of closure, okay? Be able to negotiate, be able to manage priorities in time. So, although many people have a segmented line and say, this is for profit, this is nonprofit, there are many similarities in things they both have to do.
I love that. So, can you connect that a little bit more? So, like in a for-profit world, sales might look a certain way, but then in a nonprofit, it's more like maybe it's building relationships with your donors, your partners. Can you make that kind of connection a little bit more between the two?
Absolutely. When we train and coach, we have a very consultative approach, which really blends well to the nonprofit
Mhm.
because the nonprofit is as much rapport and relationship building as anything else. So, whether they're trying to create a donor base, and let's face it, when it comes to creating donors or when it comes to really doing any type of business that you need a decision, most those type decisions happen between the 7th and the 15th contact.
Mhm.
So building a way of following up without being a pest, without sounding transactional. So one of the key components is something you and I had a conversation. We were very hard on then learning communication skills.
Mhm. Love that. So can you take us back into like what I guess sparked your interest into going into this arena and supporting for profits, nonprofits in the area of being able to build these relationships and make the sales.
Well, I saw a gap.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I saw that a lot of people who get involved in not for profit, nonprofit, they have almost a guilt. They have almost a blockage of thinking, but I don't want to sell. I don't want to ask for the money. And so because their perception of this is what I call transactional sales. Transactional sales is when you want to get a yes or no as fast as possible. It's like timeshare sales.
Mm-hmm.
But consultative sales, whether you're raising money through donors, whether you're interacting with a board, right, there's a process, a procedure, a strategy, and skills that allow you to have quality communications. Thereby, when the time is right, those people feel very comfortable helping your nonprofit.
Love that. Love that. Especially because you're right. In the nonprofit arena, a lot of times many organizations are or leaders are afraid of making the acts because of that feeling of that transaction. But when you kind of back up and really focus on the relationship first, it brings a comfort level there, towards being able to get the support that you need within your nonprofit.
And I also believe we say, well, this is relationship type of sales.
Hmm.
Well, so a person gets involved with a nonprofit and they think automatically this person is going to have those skills. Now, I remember I was on a board of a great nonprofit and they hired a donor developer,
Hmm.
and he was a wonderful man. Okay. And they automatically thought, this guy is such a nice person. He'll be able to build relationships with our donor base as well as getting other donors. And he couldn't, because the fundamentals of being able to find the names of the people, to pick up the phone and have a very consultative conversation was so foreign and scary to him. So he never got off the mark. And so, I coached him. And, when I coached him and I taught him messaging and communications and all of the skills it takes to how to pick up the phone, what to say, how to say it, all of a sudden he started to raise quite a bit of money.
Wow. Oh, that's awesome. Something I heard you mention a couple times is that consultative conversation. Can you share a little bit more around what that looks like?
Let's compare.
Okay.
Transactional sales is what happens when a telemarketer calls you and wants you to say yes.
Hmm.
Okay. Uh,
Yep. Yep.
Consultative sales is when you start the process of connecting with that person.
Hmm.
And the only reason you make that original contact is to start a trust relationship.
Hmm.
Okay. And so then, if you follow a certain process,
Hmm.
then you will get to the conversation and you will know when and how to ask. And that may take you two or three or four conversations. So consultative is just what it is. It's consulting sales
Hmm.
rather than transactional sales.
And I love that you mentioned it happening over time. Unfortunately, a lot of times in the sector, I see where an organization, like, they need funds to support this, and they think they could just pick up the phone and give so and so a call and they're going to get the support, but haven't stayed in touch with them throughout the year.
Right.
So I love that you mentioned kind of that over time. It doesn't just happen overnight. It's an over time type of relationship building that happens.
And that's why we teach people to have what we call a full funnel. You
Hmm.
see, if you put a lot of potential people in the process, then you're not closing them. They're closing themselves based on their time frame.
Hmm.
But when you have to make money right away and you start pressing and pressing, you're going to scare off, and especially in this economy. We are in an economy right now where nonprofits are struggling, okay? Because they're just like a traditional business. When the economy is bad, money is not flowing. So in a nonprofit, when you're looking to raise capital, you're looking to raise donor money, then all of a sudden, sometimes the first thing that goes in someone's life is that type of giving, that type of investing. Their people are busy building their own businesses. And so if they have, $100,000 and they decide, what am I going to do with this? And so that's why when a nonprofit decides, okay, we need to raise money, then I would recommend they get the people that are going to raise the money really good consultative sales training. So these people, because here's the other thing, if you want to destroy a brand and
Hmm.
destroy what people view your nonprofit as, let somebody go out there and just hammer people, and
Hmm.
that can destroy your brand.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's really good. So, this month's theme is scaling without the chaos, systems that support growth. What are some tips that you have around that for nonprofit organizations?
I did a podcast a few years ago, well, a couple months ago. I mean,
Mhm.
no sales, no scaling.
Mm,
The first thing you have to do when your vision is to scale, you have to have a sales foundation because that's the only thing that brings money in.
mhm,
And so let's say you have a foundation and now you're going to bring on donors and I mean, bring on people that are willing to invest. Well, you have to have a team, and
mhm,
all of those people on that team have to be trained with the same messaging, the same process. That's how things scale. I'm
mhm,
getting ready to launch a new training, and the
mhm,
training is going to be that most franchisors are so focused on growing how many franchises they have.
mhm,
They are not as much consistency. And so all of a sudden, that franchise begins to crumble. It's the same thing when you're scaling a nonprofit. If you don't build it on the sales and marketing foundation, then from there, scaling happens when you have a complete system of generating inbound business.
mhm,
Because the only thing that scales a business is revenue.
mhm. Love that. Is there any other tips that you have for organizations? So, when it comes to being able to scale without the chaos. So I
Yeah,
know you talked a lot about the sales and marketing side. What
it's
about? Mhm. Oh, go ahead.
it's also based on leadership.
Hmm.
Okay, your leadership has to be have complete clarity. The first time you and I spoke, we were
Hmm.
talking about going to see a number of donors or non-for-profit people, and I
Hmm.
said the first thing that everybody has to do is everybody in the nonprofit has to be on the same page. They have to have a clear vision on, in other words, where are we going as a
Hmm.
nonprofit? What do we want to accomplish? How much revenue do we have to generate? What are the timelines that go behind these things? And then why do we want this to do that?
Hmm.
So scaling can only happen also through tremendous clarity and focus.
Love that. Love that. So if someone wanted to get in touch with you, how can they reach out?
Well, first thing, I'm not a hard sale guy. And
Okay.
so if anybody would like a complimentary
Yes.
cup of Joe, you just
I
call
love.
me at 407-947-2590 or go to my LinkedIn, Joe
Hmm.
Pici, or Joe at PICIANDPICI.com. That is my email. But I'm going to give you a free gift. If
Okay.
everybody would take out their phone,
Hmm.
and I want you to go in the text box and put the word sales edge, one word, SALESEDGE. Text it to 59925. 59925. That'll take you to a link for Peachy and Peachy. Hit the link, it'll go to a splash page. They'll ask for an email or something, but you're going to get a free 45-minute webinar on the non negotiables and the essentials for growing a nonprofit.
Ooh, love that. Thank you. Absolutely amazing. Um, Anything else before we close out today's session? I appreciate you coming on.
Well, it's my pleasure, and I have a heart for for-profit businesses and for nonprofit. Okay, and I know a lot of people in the nonprofit world, and honestly, they struggle with the exact same things as a for-profit business. The only difference is how the revenue is generated, how the tax codes are, and things like that. But the bottom line is without clients, without inbound revenue, whether you're profit or non-profit, you're not going to stay in business.
Hmm. Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Pleasure. Thanks for inviting me.
Awesome. So thank you so much for joining us. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in. And we look forward to seeing you next time on Nonprofit Enthusiast Live. Bye, everyone.